Hey everybody, so today on Doing It with Ethan, we are here with Rae Reilly. Hi Rae.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being on my show.
No problem.
I read the Time magazine article that your dad wrote. He wrote that back in like 2000 or something, I think, a while ago. I read the article and I read it in a Starbucks and I was literally bawling my eyes out. So I was like, I have to talk to this woman. I have to talk to you. The thing about your story is, and I have it right here, this is the Time magazine article that your dad wrote, is that he tells the story from his perspective, obviously, as your dad, and he's your adoptive dad. And he talks to the reader in this really, really emotional way of this journey that he went on with you and the rest of your family, going to Korea to find your birth mother. I wanted to like hear firsthand from you about like everything that was going through your mind. So will you kind of like tell us a little bit about how this all came about, that you ended up going to Korea to try to find your birth mother, and how old you were and all that kind of stuff?
I grew up in Denver, Colorado, obviously, and I have two older brothers, and we had a great childhood. We grew up in Denver, and normally you don't see adopted kids that are that young that are just dying to go back. And I had a couple friends that met their birth families later in the early teens and late teens, but I was very, very young to really want to go back.
So you come home from school and you're 10 years old and you tell your parents that you need to find someone related to you, a blood relative. And what's their response?
I think they're a little shocked. I mean, I hadn't really spoken outwardly about it before to them. I had been curious every once in a while, but this was like, I was like, I have to do this.
You're one advanced and stubborn 10-year-old at this point. Yeah, seriously.
It was more of an emotional, crying, sobbing 10-year-old, but yeah. It was just, I knew that there was something missing.
Yes,
and I needed to have that. I needed to go and find out I needed to find something about my past to really understand.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's incredible that at 10 years old that you knew that you needed to find something about your past. And so I want to read this little part out loud that your dad wrote. Since Rae was a toddler, we've told her she was adopted, and she constantly asked about her birth mother. Do you think my birth mother plays the piano like I do? Do you think my birth mother is pretty? And then at 10, after a day of too many stares, a teary, I just want to meet someone I'm related to. When they start asking that, the adoption therapist said, you start looking. We started looking. We asked the agency that we had arranged the adoption, Friends of Children of Various Nations, to begin a search. Within 6 months, our caseworker, Kim, told us that they had found the birth mother, but she was highly reluctant to meet us. She had never told anyone about Rae. In Korea, the shame of unwed pregnancy is huge. The mother is disowned, the baby rootless. Kim guessed she had told her parents she was moving to the city to work and had gone to a home for unwed mothers. So did you think so obviously your family said, we're gonna go to Korea.
Yeah.
And your whole family went, right? So did your family find her before you guys took off for Korea?
3 months later, we found her.
Okay.
And it was just so quick. You couldn't believe it.
There was no guarantee that you were gonna meet her though if you went to Korea.
I mean, at first she said no.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of hesitation and a lot of like, our family was trying to decide, well, is it worth it? Like, should we go over there with knowing that, you know, there's a chance she might not meet with us. There's a big chance that she might not meet with us. So it was basically us taking a chance, like, all right, we're gonna go fly, you know, whatever, 11,000 miles to just hope that she shows up, you know? And there was a lot of, you know, worry. My birth mom, the culture there is just so different. Women have been suppressed there for so many years. It's, you know, women are not, if you're unwed, and you get pregnant, I mean, that's one of the biggest dishonors of a Korean family. And so, I mean, there was just a lot at stake for her to actually come and meet me.
So then your dad writes, when the day came for our visit with Rae's birth mother, we were told it had to be handled very, very carefully. She had 3 children by a husband she never told about Rae, and she was terribly afraid someone would see her. And that's how we found ourselves hiding in that van like Joe Friday, waiting for a woman of a lifetime to show up. It's a very odd feeling to be staring holes in every Korean woman walking down a Korean street, thinking that your daughter may have sprung from her womb. All we knew was that she was 1, might have her newborn girl with her. 2, was tiny. The birth certificate says she was 4'10". And 3, would look slightly more nervous than a cat burglar. So you guys are waiting in a van outside the coffee shop where your birth mother is supposed to show up so you guys can meet, right?
Yeah. So we're all up against the window. Like me, my brothers, my dad, my mom, we're all just...
And is the interpreter in the coffee shop waiting for the woman?
Yeah.
She's gonna greet her.
Yeah.
And then you guys are gonna get introduced after the initial greeting?
Yes.
Is that how the plan was supposed to go?
Yeah, except for the plan went a lot more sketchy than that, but yeah. So like we're sitting across the street, we're looking in the coffee shop, and I'm just watching women walk by, like girl after girl, and we're all guessing, oh my God, what if that's her? Oh my God, what if that? And then she would walk by, not her.
Okay.
Like next woman would come by, oh my God, that might be her, that might be her. And she would walk by, and like, it was just crazy. This little petite woman walks in, she's carrying a baby, and she's tiny, she's just tiny. She walks,
she walks into the coffee shop?
Yeah, she like walks by and turns into the coffee shop.
Did you know?
And we knew at that moment that it was her, because we were all like in the van, like, yeah, that's her, that's her. Like everyone was just like cheering, like, and so we actually see her sit down, because I can see into the coffee shop. So I see her sit down at the table with the translator too. And it takes her like 25 minutes to come out of the coffee
so you're
shop.
Sitting, watching this woman talk to the interpreter with your, like, probably your nose, like, smashed up against the glass.
Yeah. We had to do this really sketchy drive into the alley.
Okay.
And she had to come out and just, literally with the translator, they walked out and they had to come back into the back of the coffee shop in this alley.
Okay.
And then just like sneak into the car.
Okay.
Because she was just so scared that
someone was going to see her.
Anyone would see her.
Okay. So she gets into the back of this van, and the door opens. She sits right next to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your first thought?
I mean, I didn't know what to do, because she sits down in the van and she doesn't hug me. She doesn't do anything. She looks straight ahead.
Okay.
And at that point, I was like, well, should I say, like, I don't speak Korean, so do I need to do something?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to hug her? Am I supposed to, like, hold her hand? Am I supposed to shake her hand?
Right.
Like, I had no idea. So I just sat there.
Okay.
She's sitting there. And
no one's saying a word. No one's facilitating anything.
No one's
the translator,
anything.
your dad, your mom, no one's. It's just quiet in the van.
It's just quiet. It's so awkward. It was just so awkward. It was like quiet. I think they said something in Korean, and they started driving, and so we're like, all right, I guess we're going somewhere.
Okay.